You little fluff. I recommend if you move out to the mountains that you get yourself a real mountain dog. I here have chosen a long-haired Chihuahua. I've made better choices. So last night we got some snow. We're in Montana, so we get lots of snow. This is more like a winter sneeze. Good time to come out for photos. We're just driving around all day, and past this stream, it's just a fantastic scene. It's not usually the scene that I shoot. I usually just shoot landscapes and not a whole lot of architecture or man-made structures, but this thing is just really cool. Even though we have just a little bit of snow, it makes it really white outside. I find it challenging to shoot photos in these kind of conditions, so I thought I'd show you how I try to overcome that. And one of the ways you can overcome it is actually finding a truly interesting scene like this out here. This has actual interest beyond just the snow. Snow's really pretty and everybody wants to shoot it. You snap a photo and a lot of times it's just white, like you shot a sheet of paper. So finding some really, truly interesting scenes, not just seeing a pretty view, but an actual scene is important. You can lose sight of that whenever it's pretty conditions out. So what I found here is fantastic, and I even have some interest. I don't think you can see it in the camera right now, but the stream flowing below has some rapids right beneath or riffles right beneath the trestle. So you have interest all the way from the top to the bottom. I do have some problems with it though. I don't know if it's going to be fantastic. The sky is white. No amount of manipulation you can do will bring out detail in that sky. It's just white. And the ground in front of me is pretty white as well. Ways that I'm helping here is actually trying to find a good composition along with this interesting scene. What I'm doing is trying to frame this in basically a full frame around the image with interesting items. I got the train trestle up top, which is leading through my image from one side to the next, kind of a leading line into the scene. The river leads down the middle, but off on the left-hand side here, I got these two little trees. Can I see it in here? Yeah, these two little trees that I'm using at the bottom left-hand side of my frame to kind of frame in the image. And on the right-hand side, I got this big pine tree there. I don't want the whole thing in. I don't want to get too much of the sky. I'm already going to have a lot of white sky as it is. So I am using it on the right-hand side of my frame, though, just to kind of give it a boundary to make sure that the viewer of the image knows where I'm trying to make them look. And really what I wanted to look at is through that trestle at those glorious mountains and at that stream. And kind of boxing it in will kind of help their eyes lead to that central focus point. Now, back to shooting in bright, snowy conditions. Ways you can handle that are actually exposing for the snow. So instead of exposing that to the right, exposing a little bit to the left. And it really depends on your camera sensor. I'm shooting with a D850. It has an amazing ability to pull back detail from either overexposed or underexposed areas. But most modern digital cameras do anymore. When you expose to the right, meaning the right side of your histogram, everything being very bright, you can't bring back the detail in the snow. It just blows out. This camera, if I blow out the image just a little bit too much in the highlights, I can back that off in post-processing. Same thing if I get a little bit too dark. But you definitely don't want just pure white. You don't want pure darkness. You want to have some kind of data there. So I'm exposing a little bit to the left. I have my f-stop at f9, which is a pretty small aperture to begin with. And I've used aperture priority to choose a shutter speed for me. And then I backed that down 2/3 of a stop from what the camera wanted using my exposure compensation. So you just push the exposure compensation button, turn it down. I have it set to 1/3 of stop, so 2/3 of a stop down. And that way I'm making sure the image is a little bit darker than it needs to be, and I can bring that back in post. It helps me really bring out the detail in the snow, because I don't want to lose that. I don't want just a sheet of white down above, or up above and down below. I'm going to have white up above. Don't need it down below. So I want to show you the effect of a polarizer as well. So I do have a polarizer on this camera right now. The polarizer helps take glare, as you know, off of water and then snow, and of snow. I don't have a whole lot of glare on the snow right now, but there is a little bit. You can see the glare on the water, and I'll show you what I do. I can zoom in on this water right here. And then as I turn this polarizer, my finger's going to be a little bit in the way, but you can see the water go from being really bright, so there it is with all the glare on it, and if I rotate it even farther, I can take that glare entirely away so that the water, there it is, turns very dark. And that's the benefit of a polarizer. It's something you can't do in post. If there's glare on the water, you're going to capture the light there, and if there's not glare on the water, you're not going to capture the light. You can't bring that in post. Sure, you can go into Photoshop and fake it, but it's just not the same. So from a distance, I can't really see what the glare looks like on that water, so I zoom in, and then I can adjust that polarizer to hit the exact amount of glare that I want on there. Another benefit of the polarizer is that it does take the glare off the snow, and you can't really see the glare change on the snow when I'm adjusting on the back of my camera. It's just too dark, and by adjusting the glare off of the water down below, I know that the glare is either fully removed or fully glaring. And if I adjust it on the water, it's most likely going to have the same effect for the most part on the snow. So by focusing on that water where I can actually see the effect of the polarizer, I know I'm getting what I want, which is really important because once you get home, if you've blown out your photo or if you have the glare on the snow and it's just making it look too white, you can't fix that, so there's no recovery. So after about the 15th time I've slid down this hill trying to adjust the camera on this stand, I think I got the image that I want, and I want to share that with you now. So here it is. All right, and that's a wrap at this location. I got the images that I wanted, and it's been nice. So we're gonna go see if we can find some more photos, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we got a little bit of a different setup. I'm sorry I have to stand away from my camera. This river right now is too loud and I don't want to ruin the audio. It's a little bit of a different scenario here. And again, we're dealing with snow. It's very white, it's very bright. The sky is white. And the water, the rapids in the water are white as well. So again, composition's key here, because if you don't focus on composition, you're focusing on color, you're not going to have it. It's black and white, basically. But in person, what I can see is this really deep, steely blue water. Well, it's a deep blue. It's not deep water, but the rapids in there are white. It's contrasting with the blues. There's still some green in the trees, and there's some dark browns in these rocks here. But it's all going to get muddied by the white. It's going to get washed out by the white. So what I'm looking for is composition. What you can't see below me right here is that there's some rocks in the river with the river splitting it around the rocks, making two white streams on either side. And I've put that as basically the focal point of my composition here. I'm really going for symmetry in this photo. I'm not really going rule of thirds, leading lines across the photos. I guess I do have a leading line in the river going up through the scene, but really kind of splitting the river right down the middle and going for symmetry. Something that's wonderful about this scene is that there's a big hill in the back of me. The mountains rise up behind it, and I can cut out that pure white sky, so I can have interest everywhere, and I don't just have that white section like I did in that last photo. That last photo would have benefited from like a great sunset or amazing cloud structure in the sky. This here, I don't need that, so it's set up perfectly for this kind of conditions, as long as you get your composition right. And let me show you the settings on the camera. My settings on my camera right now, I'm trying to get a little bit of a longer exposure. I'm not going for a long exposure per se, but what I am going for is for blurring that water just a little bit. It really bring out the blues and the motion in the water. So I have my shutter set to 1/1.6, so just a little bit less than a second shutter speed to blur that water just a little bit, but not give me that really silky overall soft water look. And in order to do that, because it is pretty bright out here with all the snow, I have my aperture set to f14 and my ISO set to 64. Again, shooting 64, it's gorgeous with this camera. It's my favorite, and I try to shoot it wherever, but it's actually helping me here because it's helping me darken that scene and make sure that I can get a longer shutter speed. Again, using the polarizer can take the glare off that water and really bring out the colors in it. Bring out the colors in the rock, take the glare off the rocks, take the glare off the snow, and take the glare off the water so I can see that deep bluish color, bluish hues to it. So it really helps here, and you just can't replace that in post. All right, pro tip. Don't be afraid to use your tripod creatively. Right now, I have one leg of the tripod on the ground, and I have my other two legs out basically horizontally straddling the side of this bridge. That is definitely not the typical way that you would use a tripod, but it's a valid way to hold it. It's a very sturdy setup. I can't shake that camera right now, and it helps me get the scene that I want, because the rocks that I'm shooting are down there, and I don't want the edge of the bridge in there, because that's not what I'm looking at when I see the scene. So don't be afraid to use it in creative ways. Exhibit A. All right, and there we have it. I call this a successful outing. I got 2 photos that I really like. And if you do like this video, please like it, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel, and as you know, starting a brand new channel is really hard to get it to grow. So give me some encouragement, drop some comments in the comment section below. If you have a topic you'd like me to cover, please drop a comment below. I'd love to cover it. I know there's a lot of photographers on YouTube providing a lot of content and a lot of value, and I want to give you something new, some value that I can give you that maybe somebody else isn't, or something you'd like to see that you haven't seen yet. So thanks again for coming along with me, and I'll see you next time. Video or me. Can't put that in there. Definitely not checking the kid-friendly box on this video. Way too many bad words slipping around on this.